So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the
Howdy y'all, happy Friday. Hope everybody had a great week. What a crazy week, huh? Tony S, good evening. Dog Mom, good evening. Hope you guys have some fun plans scheduled for the weekend. Thought I'd come have a cigar with you, spend a little bit of time with you this Friday night, see what questions you guys have since we haven't been doing a lot of lives lately. Blazing, what's up? Howdy to all the folks in the Discord. If you guys want to chat on the Discord, I guess, let's see. I'll go in the live stream voice. Might need to put my headset on, though, if people join in. MD, good evening. Juan, ¿cómo estás? Dog Mom says, can you give us an opinion of AMC Ever MOAS? And let's take a look, Dog Mom, and see what the short interest is looking like. $7.7. That's a little low for my criteria for a short squeeze. Pour yourself a drink, folks. It's Friday night. What do we got here? Straight bourbon whiskey out of Austin, Texas. All right. How do you say your name there? Is it Tadaya? Tadaya, I hope I got that right. Thank you for the compliment on the hat. Coming live to you from Austin, Texas. Blazing, how was your week? Tony S says he has had COVID for 10 days. Tony, I'm sorry to hear that. Make sure you're getting plenty of rest, drinking plenty of fluids. That could be whiskey or water, or maybe a little bit of both. Tadaya, okay. And where are you joining us from, Tadaya? Let's see, what else? What have I been doing this week? I've been working on my EV company, DD. The only one that I've really paid a lot of attention to has been Mullen over the past couple of years. Not really investing in it, but just because you guys ask me so much about it. We got the Rivian video out this week. Lucid, I was hoping would get out today, but it looks like that one's going to be tomorrow. I did go test drive the Rivian vehicles here in Austin this week. And on the 24th, I'm test driving a Lucid. They're having a pop-up driving event here in Austin. So I thought I was going to have to go up to Dallas, test drive a Lucid. But I reached out to them and they said, hey, we're actually going to be in your area next week. So I'll get my reaction to test driving the Rivian and the photos and video I took as a follow-on to the Rivian video that I did. I'll try and get that out tomorrow. And then next week, this weekend I'll get the Lucid due diligence video out, and then next week the driving video out. And keep in mind, I'm not a car review channel. This is just me giving you off the cuff, like what is my real impression of vehicles. Broke Ape, what's up? As far as EV companies, you know, the one, I have them in tiers. Tier 1 being Tesla, not because I favor any single one of them, just we're looking at we're looking at the financial statements and production numbers. That's how I tier them. So Tesla and any major auto manufacturer would be tier 1, companies that are profitable. Tier 2 would be all of your like NIO, Rivian, Lucid, Polestar, companies that are in production with decent numbers, but maybe not profitable yet. Your next best chance at getting in on an EV company that might make it. I can't promise that any of them will make it, but they all have a decent shot. And then tier 3 would be anything else, anything that is not really in production or just starting in production, like a Hyliion or a Mullen. I think my number for them to jump from tier 3 to tier 2 would probably have to be at least, I don't know, what do y'all think? 5,000 units a quarter, 10,000? What's they don't need to be profitable, but what number would you think you would jump from bottom of the barrel to at least maybe has a shot? We know that they're not going to be profitable for years, but where at what point do they make tier 2? I'll let you guys help me decide that. Salud. What a damn week, huh? Tesla too got smacked this week. I've been waiting a long time. Tesla down 15% this week, the worst performance of the year. Been waiting a long time for Tesla to come down in price after having sold it, bought in at 100 or so, sold it on the run up, sold it a little bit early, but I was nervous to jump back in. I played a few options on Tesla. Let me know if y'all are in Tesla. I did buy some yesterday at about 218. That might be, I mean, that's probably a little early, but I didn't go in heavy. It fell down another 3.5% today. I'd really, I'd love to, I'd go all in at 100. Got support at 207, 185, and 154. The lower it falls, the more I will buy. I'm just dipping my toe in the water. I thought maybe today or next week we might get a bounce, and it was up at 299. But I briefly read through some of Elon's comments, and I'll have more thoughts for you on Tesla next week when I get done with. We did Rivian. We'll do Lucid this weekend. I want to do Fisker and an update on Polestar. And then I'm going to start providing some really ongoing regular coverage of Tesla. Just because if you're going to be in EVs and be safe, I don't know that you're safe at $200 or $300 a share, but it's the best thing going. And then some of y'all shouted out to me about the new Kia EV vehicle. Thank you for letting me know about that one. I'll cover NIO for you guys too that are curious about my thoughts on NIO, even though I'm not big on holding Chinese stocks right now still. But they're up there in tier 2. What was I saying? Oh, the Kia has a EV SUV, I guess, that they just announced. And I took a look at it. It looks pretty decent. And the price point is going to be a compelling price point. Doc Zeno, what is up, amigo? He says he made some money in puts this week. I had a few options plays this week, but I got smacked on all of them by fucking Max Payne. What are you going to do? You don't win them all. Blazin says he bought more Tesla after Elon tanked it. That's all I was waiting on, Blazin. Just when companies are flying at sky-high PE ratios like Tesla was, all it takes is one little stumble to send it down. For me, that's my bat signal. I think Tesla is a fine company, and I want to own it, but I don't want to overpay for it. I certainly don't want to be paying $270, $290. So the lower it goes, the more I'll buy. And that's how I am on a lot of tickers right now. Many of us are just waiting for the market meltdown. I'm every day I fluctuate between 40 to 50% of my cash, of my account in cash, waiting patiently to go in and swoop up on some deals. I did a little buying this week. I forget what I added. I tried to go in on some GameStop at $14, and then I woke up in the morning, it was still going down, so I dumped that. I have no GameStop right now, but I'm watching that one closely. What do y'all think about the meltdown in GameStop price? And anybody holding GameStop? I have a $10 price target on GameStop, but that's over the next 12 months. I'm actually shocked that we hit below 13 this quick. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to try and play it on momentum swing trades. And we still have, what, about a month, 5-6 weeks till their next earnings. So it's going to be a dicey one. But if I see the chart looking decent for a quick little pop, I'll hop back in. Pedro says, what about Polestar? Pedro, give me a few days. I have one video on Polestar. I did my first initial deep dive on them a couple quarters ago. And let me pull up the chart. We have a dealership here that has vehicles, and so I went and visited them. Seems like a fine car. They have global production, but like all of the tier 2 companies, Polestar, Rivian, Lucid, they're all gonna be dealing with some time of incurring losses while they get production ramped up. That's not a negative for me against the company. It's a negative for me of buying the stock too early. So this is all stuff we talked about back in 2021. Just be patient with these companies. You're going to have plenty of time to buy them. And so I have not invested. I think I can't remember if when Polestar, so long ago, if when they went public I tried to buy it, but I have no EV stocks right now. $2 looks great, right? But let me do a updated due diligence. For me to do my level of DD to decide if I'm going to buy one of these companies or to do a first video for you guys on companies like this where I haven't been following them closely, it takes me about 2 days, 2 full work days, 8 to 10 hours. That's going through all the financials that I haven't gone through, going through all the press releases, and going through the financial statements. And then looking at their production facilities, staffing, have they added to the facility? What's their projections for the next year, 2 years? So it's a bit of work, and I will get Polestar out. Like I said, next is Lucid, Fisker, and then I'll do an update on Polestar. I think we all think that the future is headed to EVs, at least some percentage of vehicles. So I think, now if we can identify which companies are going to make it, because most of them won't, let's be honest, most of them won't make it. But if we can identify the ones that can make it and get in on them when they're cheap, then you could be set up pretty good, just like if you were in Tesla early. The problem is they all are burning massive cash. So you don't want to be in so early that you get in before convertible bonds or more dilution, because even though $2 might look cheap, after a reverse split, if there were to be one happen and it goes up to 20 and then drops back down to 5, well, being early wasn't wasn't a good thing, right? The cars I like, the CEO I like, their footprint I like. Give me a few days and I'll give you a more careful update, careful analysis on Polestar. How low can Tesla go? I don't think that the news was so bad on Tesla that they would drop back to 100, but I mean, that is the most recent real support point that we have on Tesla. I have 154, this red line that I drew in here. That was off of these bounces in January and March. So if it were to drop, if it continues dropping, I'll be looking for any support at 154. And if it doesn't hold that, then, you know, back down to around 100. I'm not calling for Tesla to melt down that far, but it could. We got high interest rates. We got companies having to lower prices, cutting into profit margins. We got the startup problems they have with the Tesla Cybertruck, but they have a lot of other things going on, the power aspect of the company. So I'm not the best person yet to talk and sell you on Tesla, but give me a week. I've mostly just been trading it and knowing that there's so many people that want to support this company. It's been a great stock to swing trade. I will be doing a lot more focus on Tesla after I get the tier 2 companies out of the way. Yeah, and ChargePoint, I need to do an update on them, Wedmore. I've been doing some, I had a lot of curiosity about the two different charging standards. For those of you that own an EV or who pay attention to EVs a lot more than I do, you probably know that there's two charging standards. And for those of you that don't pay attention at all, there's basically two plugs. And Tesla has over 20,000 charging stations. And I think the next closest, what's it called? CCI? I think they have around 9,000. But I'm going to do a charging station video, just comparing both of those for everyone, to get folks who aren't up on that stuff caught up also. That'll be after we get through all of the different cars. And, some of the major auto manufacturers, Ford and one other one, I forget which one, recently signed on to the Tesla standard. And even when I was at Rivian, they mentioned, yeah, we're going to be going to the Tesla standard, or at least offer an adapter. And from what I understand, since I don't own an EV, it's not a problem with the vehicle. It's not a problem with the plug or the standard itself. It's the charging stations that are on the other non-Tesla standard. Around the country, they just have a lot of issues with providing excellent charging. I was watching a channel this week, a guy that just does EV content, and he had a Lucid, which he loved, and he sold it because he was so frustrated with the charging stations. Not Lucid charging stations, just the God damn it, what is it? I'm going to call it CCA, but someone correct me, please. CCA, CCI, whatever standard that Lucid was on, that almost everyone that's not a Tesla was on, he couldn't get good charging as he was trying to do cross-country trips or even driving around in his own area. He said, like, he'd go to a charging station and half would be broken, and then the ones that were working, he couldn't get. The charging was derated. It was just taking a long time. CCS, Saheb, thank you. It's been a lot of week. I've been just pumping so much information into my brain. It's hard to keep all of it, but I will I plan to be an EV, maybe not an expert, not as expert as these guys that buy one every 6 months and test drive them and own them. But I was talking to my wife about maybe, selling her car and buying a Tesla. So we'll see. I have a vehicle replacement coming up too. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the Rivian front grille, like those headlights. And I know they did that just to be noticed, to have something distinctive. But the electric pickup truck, I think if you're not hauling a boat or a camper or needing to do cross-country trips, I think it might be a fine vehicle. So now I'm more interested. I was thinking about buying a diesel something, a diesel pickup truck. But I might, when I get to that point, when my car finally dies, because I'm gonna drive it till it dies. When it dies, I might consider an EV truck or an EV SUV. Doc Zeno says he made enough this week to celebrate with a nice 30-year aged bottle of tawny port. Beautiful. I'm just drinking bourbon tonight, Doc, but we've been watching a show, Doc Zeno, and the gentleman in the show is when he comes home from work, his wife has him a shaker of martinis made every night. And I keep on, it's been programmed in my brain this week that we might need to have a martini week coming up. Because every time I see that, I'm like, why did I ever stop drinking martinis? I had a long haul there where I was drinking gin martinis, Tanqueray martinis. And then I switched to vodka martinis. I don't know. Maybe they go down too easy, Doc. I sip a little slower on a scotch, I think. But we may do a martini week next week or 1 week coming up. Tony S., cheers. Let me fill up my lighter here. Yeah, David says it was GGPI before Polestar. I remember covering, in fact, when Polestar switched their ticker, that was about the time that I did my first Polestar video and went and test drove the vehicles. In my city, since, it's a techie type city and a pretty high income city, you see Polestars driving around. You see Rivians driving around. We have a Rivian showroom here. Showroom's not the right word. Service center. But you can go test drive Rivian. And Polestar, Rivian, and Tesla, obviously. Raf's Car, what's up? Is ChargePoint still the play for EV chargers? They've been getting decimated in price. And I had some ChargePoint and I sold it. And I'm going to come back to it next week when I get done with the tier 2 companies. Come back to it and figure out what the fuck is going on. All these Plug and Power, ChargePoint, Fuel. I had to dump all of them. That just weren't. I went and did a cleanup of everything that I was holding that was not performing, that was not moving up. And I did a very quick, 30-second look at their financials. Fuel, Plug, ChargePoint. Not a deep dive, just for my own account. I was like, I'm losing money in all these stocks. I don't watch them often. They were kind of like let's hold these for 5 years. But after holding them for a year and they're still every quarter going down, after I looked at the financials, I was like, no, sell, take the L. wait, come back to it when they start turning profits. All of them were not profitable, and they were just burning up my account. So I will come back and look at ChargePoint, but I can't tell you right now other than I made a decision some time ago to get rid of all of these. Doesn't mean that I'm against them. It just means that they had too much red. I wasn't seeing any improvement in the financial statements, and I had to get out until they turn their story around. ChargePoint is one of the contenders, or it was, but we need to go figure out what is going on with it. Al says buy a Mullen. They should be coming out by 5023. Mullen, man, what a fucking mess. Did you guys see that? They have another reverse split proposal shareholder meeting for December 8th, I think. Unfucking believable. I actually got on a Twitter space call last night to talk about Mullen and a couple of other stocks. I don't do too many Twitter space calls. It's just way too toxic. Saheb says Rivian is a beautiful car, but the Tesla charging network is superior. Yeah. If Rivian goes to the Tesla standard, what are they calling it? North American Charging Standard, right? Is that right, Saheb? NACS is what Tesla is going with. If Rivian provides adapters or ability to charge on the Tesla charging network, that gives them a distinct advantage. And I think, if you're looking for a pickup truck or a 7-seater SUV, I don't think I finished what I was going to say earlier. The Rivian vehicles were pretty fucking badass. Now, I don't have a ton of experience comparing EV cars, sitting in them, driving them. I'll be upfront about that. I've owned all kinds of cars, pickup trucks, Mercedes S-Series, BMW 7 Series, all the way back to my college cars, beaters and muscle cars. I've bought a lot of cars, but I'm not an EV expert. So when I sit in these more modern EVs, it is impressive. And I have nothing bad to say about my, 1 hour experience with Rivian. The features and everything looks great. But what I would do before I buy any of them is go look at reviews on auto channels and Consumer Reports or wherever, and see what are people's real life experience. I do that with any car. What is the real life experience of other people? And some of them, do have issues with fit and finish and reliability and programming. I was watching a guy, forget what he was driving, but his car was just like dying on him. His EV, when he hit the accelerator, they fixed it with the reprogramming. But those are little frustrating things, right? And with newer companies, it's not unexpected. So I'm not going to fault any company for that. That's your early adopter penalty for some of these newer companies. Jeffrey says he's not an alcoholic novice. I'm assuming you're talking about yourself, but neither am I. Oh, not alcoholic advice. Sorry. I don't have my contacts in, Jeffrey. Tadea says brown liquor is better for you. Juan, I have not been buying any Bitcoin or Ethereum lately. I have all of mine parked on a cold wallet. And now that we got some time with all of the AMC DD kind of like behind us, this last 6-7 months, just keeping up with everything that was going on with AMC was practically a full-time job. And now that we're to the point where we can just talk about quarterly earnings, it frees up a lot more of my time to get into covering other topics for you guys, like the EV companies and the blue chip companies that I own or that I'm looking at. And I want to start doing at least one day a week a video on crypto, or one live stream a week on crypto. I've been neglecting it. I've been watching the whole XRP, XRT thing. But as far as trading any crypto, no, I just have mine parked. Rick says, wasn't IDX another one? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that. Another what, Rick? David says, do you think Mullen is trying to go private? David, I've been spending a lot of time trying to figure out what the hell is Mullen doing. But just in my opinion, I think they're trying to do what any company tries to do, which is not go bankrupt. And the big difference between Mullen and someone like a Rivian or a Lucid is they did not raise billions of dollars with a SPAC or big investor funding. They just went public, and they didn't have billions of dollars. So people that got in early to support that company, the company still needs to raise money. You got in ahead of all of the money raising, and you're getting obliterated. Whether or not they go private or bankrupt is not for me to say. It's going to depend on, can they get some damn meaningful production, and will people buy the vehicles? Mullen's biggest problem right now is not having production. 100 units, 1,000 units, not going to be enough. And what is the holdup, right? Is it the getting certified to be street legal? What is the damn holdup? Until they can start putting out 10, 20,000 units a quarter, it shouldn't be that hard. Is it parts? Is it supply chain? I don't know, but I think it probably has to do something with certification. I know they got their EPA certification, so they can get the customers can get the discount from the federal government, but they need to crank vehicles out, and it shouldn't be that hard. It's 80% built when they order it from China. All they do is, I don't even know what all they're putting in it. Let's just say they're swapping out the motor hub on the wheels and the battery and putting in an airbag. It shouldn't be that hard. It's not like you're having to fabricate sheet metal. You're not having to fabricate motor hubs. They don't have any of the complexity that these other EV manufacturers have. So they need to get the damn factory moving, and they need to sell some damn product. That's their only chance. I don't care about POs. I don't care about laying a foundation in Mississippi and we're going to pour some concrete. I don't care about any PR. Only thing I want to see is we produced, delivered, and sold 10,000 vehicles. Until then, you're buying a lottery ticket with Mullen. And if they can't do that in short order, you're either going to be diluted to hell, or they're going to go bankrupt. I'm not buying any altcoins right now, Brett. I mostly ever only bought, let's see, what did I bought Bitcoin, Ethereum. I had Phantom. I had Doge up until the day that Elon went on Saturday Night Live. I sold it while he was on TV. I had a few other altcoins, but when all of the exchanges started failing, I mostly liquidated a lot of that stuff, and everything else I moved into cold storage. It's something fun and great to talk about, and especially if stocks get really, really bad, might be fun to go find some good altcoins to talk about. So I'll take your recommendations too. Tony S says he's looking to get into Disney. I have a little bit of Disney. Tony, you guys might have seen my videos on that, which I just recently bought. So I'm very slightly in the green on that. I think my lowest Disney I bought was $79 and change. But look, it's still risky, right? I'm not a big fan of the management or their current strategic direction. So my thoughts about Disney is I want to be in it before they do announce the strategic turnaround, which I think will come. But I don't know if that will be in 2023 or 2025. I don't know if we'll be talking $80 was the bottom or $40 was the bottom. So I'm not like loading up my account with Disney. I'm trying to be judicious and like I do with any stock, I'll take a couple nibbles, and if it falls, then I increase the number of shares I buy. But I think over the long term, I don't think Disney is going anywhere. It's just a matter of your own personal belief about how bad is it going to get before they turn it around. Anya, what is up, Anya? Rick says IDX was a pumping up at the same time as ChargePoint. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one. Tadaya says the Mullen M3 is approved and getting revenue. The M1 is missing airbag modules. Yeah, I wish all of these EV companies all the best. Mullen, I drove their vehicles when they were here. I don't have anything against Mullen. I know sometimes you guys hear me talk about companies. You think I hate everything. I love money. Companies that are turning profits, and everything else is risky. So I will talk about the risk. That doesn't mean I hate the company. That just means like sometimes we need to be patient so that we don't get beat up with the price getting run down or dilution. Kevin W, what's up, amigo? Cheers to you in Canada. Thoughts on PayPal? I do have some PayPal that I recently bought. Did I do a video on PayPal for you guys yet? I've never been. If you guys have followed me for the last couple of years, you know I'm not a big fan of PayPal because they did me dirty. I got my PayPal account. They closed it. And my Venmo. When your PayPal account gets closed, they take your Venmo with it, by the way. And I got that, we're going to hold all your funds for 180 days just in case you have any chargebacks. Luckily for them, I was taking the money out every day. So it was a few dollars was all they got to keep for 180 days, whereas PayPal. But I did recently, it did drop back on my radar as okay to start considering PayPal. So we've been talking about PayPal since 2021, right? told you guys all in 2021 I didn't like it. And so I never owned PayPal in this run up. I did not own it or buy it on any of this rundown. Oh, here we go. I bought it on 8/18 at $57. So I'm down a couple percent. It could go lower. I'll do did I do a PayPal video? Someone check my channel real quick. If not, I'll do one. I'm trying to do a video on everything that I've recently bought in the past couple months, but this is like a 5-year play, right? PayPal could go a little lower. But I think in the long run, if you're smart and don't go hog wild at 57, 53 bucks, just start taking nibbles at it. You'll be okay. What happened with me with PayPal was I transacted an item which was, I didn't know about all this stuff, but it was against their terms of service. There was no like, we're going to give you a warning or, hey, can you clarify this? They were just like, you're shut down. All these years I've had a PayPal account. Boom. So I don't know. After, I did the retroactive reading of the terms of service. I was like, oh, I wasn't allowed to buy or sell that. I see. Well, my mistake. Wasn't really anything against them. It just seems like, I mean, come on. Can you give a guy a break? Can you give me a second chance? What is one of my favorite 90s songs? Oh my gosh. I grew up in the 80s, so 80s music still is an easier recall. I grew up listening to like Ozzy Osbourne, AC/DC, Foreigner, all that type of stuff. 90s music, it's kind of a blur. I always like telling this story though. My wife is a few years younger than me, wink wink. And we got in the car one day and she's like, "Can you put the oldies station on?" I was like, "Which one?" She's like, "Channel 8. This was on our XM. I like, "Channel 8, that's the 80s channel. That's not oldies." I was like, "That's the freaking music I grew up with." She's like, "Well, to me, it's the oldies." I was like, "No, babe. Oldies is like 50s. So, getting back to PayPal, despite my anger at them, it's been a few years. I think that happened to me in 2020 when they closed my account. I've had 3 years to get over it. And just like Disney, even though I don't like what they're doing with their whole agenda, same thing with Target. I don't let grudges or things that I don't like get in the way of a good deal. At the point where PayPal drops low enough that I think it's a good buy, I'm still going to buy it. Doesn't mean that I have to love the company. PE ratio on PayPal is 10. Pretty damn low. But I think I owe y'all a video on PayPal. Let's do a deep dive on their financials too. And in the future forecast. Like, is 53, 57, is it still too early? Could be. I only bought a little. Really, what I'm waiting for in all these companies, I'm putting a marker in on all of them, so it makes me pay more attention to them. But I'm waiting for the fucking market meltdown, and then I'll snag all these bitches. Yeah. My PayPal was canceled because I did not do my DD. eBay uses PayPal, right? I used to, anytime if I was going to have a garage sale, instead of selling shit for $2 on a garage sale, I'd put it on eBay and, find someone that really wanted it. And anytime I moved or did a, garage sale, I'd just put everything on eBay first. So that's mostly what I use PayPal for. I never had like a PayPal business or anything that you would consider business. But then there was that one day where one item that I sold was against their terms of service, and they're just like, oh well. Haven't been on eBay since then either. But guys, I mean, if you got a bunch of crap sitting around, you would be surprised. You'd be fucking surprised what people would pay. I would find like a phone charger from a phone I had 4 years ago that no one sells anymore. You can sell that damn thing for $10. It's better than throwing it away. Just, put a couple dollars on it and then add some money in for your shipping cost, $8-10. It is fucking amazing what you can sell on eBay instead of throwing shit away. Tony S says he thinks eBay stopped using PayPal. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been on eBay since 2020. Yeah, just go on eBay, whatever crap you got sitting around. If your kids are grown up and you still got boxes of their shit, games, whatever, toys. But I remember when speaking of business ideas, I remember when my kid grew. Have you ever seen those magnetic alphabet letters that you put on your fridge? You got the A, and you take the letter off the fridge and you put it in another little magnet box that speaks, and it says A. A is for apple. I had that for my youngest son, and he learned the alphabet at a very young age with those magnetic damn talking letters. And when he grew up where he didn't need that anymore, I sold it on eBay, and I was surprised at what people would buy it for. So then I started looking on eBay and seeing someone who had it underpriced. So then I started going up and buying all of them. If I knew I could sell it for 25 and someone was selling it for 5, I'd go buy all of them or put bids on all of them for 5. That wasn't really a business, but it is kind of an arbitrage. Find something that you're an expert in, and go find people that are selling it too cheap on eBay, buy them all up, and then just resell them for the correct price. That's stupid little ideas you can do for a little bit of extra spending money. I want to hear what y'all think about GameStop. GameStop now trading at $13.43. Just a refresh, if you're new here, welcome. I stopped the buy and hold thing on GameStop back in August of 2022 when they did the split. So I sold all my GameStop on this run up to $45 back on August 9th, 2022. And then I bought some dips. I sold on this rip, bought some more dips, sold up here. And then I tried to time this last one. I bought it 19 and 17.97, and I ended up selling for break even at 18.50. So I bought some at 19. I bought more, a greater quantity at 17.97. Ended up getting out at 18.50. It popped up a little bit higher than that after I sold. But I want to think. I just looking at the TA on GameStop, it doesn't look pretty. I mean, look at this fucking chart. It's underneath all of the moving averages. The RSI being low is about all it's got going for it. Although, you know, we had a little bounce here. So I did think about buying some today, but I'm going to wait and see how it looks on Monday. This originally between 19 and 16 was I'd like to buy it in this range, but I said, watch out. I said, watch out. If it breaks through this, we're going to be in trouble. We could go down to 10. So that I'm kind of like on the fence. Do I take a little gamble and nibble a little GameStop at 13? Or do I wait and see if it tumbles down to 10? We got a long wait. We got a long wait till December, I think, for their next earnings. And when I was looking back at their last time a year ago, they just fell from October to January. Just, I don't know. Is it going to do that again? Is it going to go all the way down to 10? What do y'all think? I know Q4 is going to be good for them. I don't know that Q3 is going to be any different than Q2 was. And I'm just trading the chart on GameStop. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. Patriot says, always finding the angle. You're talking about selling the damn alphabet things? Yeah. If I get some stupid little idea, Patriot, like, oh, I can make a little bit of extra money doing this, I'm going to try it. You can arbitrage a lot of shit. That is one of the businesses I started in 2020, started with the arbitrage. It wasn't related to eBay, wasn't related to PayPal. But I started with about $1,000 of my money doing some arbitrage on some shit in 2020 during the pandemic, Patriot. And within about 3 months, I had turned that into selling $50,000 a month of product based on arbitrage. Not stocks, I'm talking actual shit. All you got to do is find something where there's a market inequity where you can buy something cheap and sell it for a markup. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm going to throw out the eBay thing. It was not related to eBay. I'm going to throw out the eBay thing just as an example. And you see other channels that talk about doing drop shipping. I have never done drop shipping business, but that is the general basis of what they're talking about. And in my little venture in 2021, where we were turning $50,000 a month in product, I ran into some drop shipping guys, and I'll just share this story with you so you can kind of get a sense of what is available out if you're just willing to think out of the box. These guys were buying space heaters, the patio ones, the 6-foot tall ones. They were going to Walmart here in Texas, buying every fucking space heater at every Walmart and Home Depot. They had a website, and they were selling them to people in New York and New Jersey because there was no inventory available up there, so they could mark it up plus their shipping and make money on it. And I was at UPS, and they had a truck full of patio space heaters. They were dropping off 20, 40, 50 space heaters a day. I was like, well, you got to have the right vehicle to do that. I would not be interested in lugging around 6-foot space heaters. But for them, that was a great opportunity. There's so much opportunity if you just think creatively and look for pricing mismatches. David says, do you think there's some decent upside to AMC over the coming months? That is a great question, David. So let's flesh that out for a second. It's going to depend. You know, all of my analysis for the last year on AMC comes down to the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. We're not talking about all the crazy theories out there, which some of them or probably have some truth to them. But at the end of the day, the reason AMC is being hammered is because of their balance sheet and lack of profits. So that's what we talk about on this channel. Just real talk. The balance sheet sucks. They have $5 billion in debt. They've got a huge negative working capital. Go on the balance sheet, look at current assets versus current liabilities. That's your working capital. It's a major negative, over $1 billion. $1 billion negative of ability to pay their next 12 months bills. So that is what Wall Street is looking at. They're not scared to fucking short this stock. With that in mind, how do we fix that? The company needs to raise cash, or they need to cut costs and increase profits, all of which they're working on. So they're closing theaters as leases expire. They're adding new theaters that are more profitable in better locations, all good things. That's a long process. It takes years because you got to wait for the leases to expire before you close. And AMC is highly dependent on Hollywood putting out good movies. So that's kind of out of their control. So we're in a long fight with AMC. Unless some miracle catalyst happens, we're in for a long fight. So getting back to the question, is there some decent upside? I never, David, would have forecast that AMC fell to $7 after the reverse split. In my worst scenario that I ever talked about in my Discord to people, I was thinking 12 to 15. If it fell, 12 to 15. So for me, that's why I've been fairly confident buying it at the $7 to $8 level. It seems overdone dropping it this low. So not financial advice. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think, yes, there's absolutely some upside to AMC at this level. But what they need to do is have profitable quarters, first of all. And then they need to renegotiate the debt that they have that's coming due in 2026. So we need to keep an eye on those things. That's what I'm watching. I'm hoping that Q3 will be close to break even. Profitable would be a bonus. I'm not expecting Q3 to be profitable. Q4 is way too early to call, right? We're only 3 weeks in to a 3-month quarter. I think that, if Taylor Swift can hit 600 million this quarter and Beyonce can contribute another couple hundred million, we got a shot at Q4 being break even. But if it wasn't for Taylor Swift and Beyonce, Q4 was going to suck balls. So we'll just have to see. The good movies for Q4 are just starting right now. Forget about Taylor Swift, like the Leonardo movie and everything from this weekend on. Q4 starts looking a lot better. We're not off to a great start. But as I was looking at the calendar, it starts getting better this weekend. So we'll have to see. Adam Aaron needs to start a OnlyFans. Yeah, that was kind of disappointing. I don't know. I don't know how you fall for some shit like that. You're not going to catch me defending him on that shit. Come on, bro. Someone sent me a link that he resigned from the Norwegian Cruise Lines board of directors. Did y'all know he was still on the board for Norwegian Cruise Lines? I guess this week or maybe today he resigned. And I would guess, just me being me, that it had something to do with him sending messages or photos to some person that he didn't really know. You know, it's not the best judgment call. I hold politicians and CEOs to a pretty high standard. Doing something like that is a lapse in judgment. I'm just guessing that Norwegian probably had a talk with him and said, yeah, you know, it's been a good ride, but might be a good time to don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. I don't think the AMC board is going to let him go, though. They already looked at the scenario. Had nothing to do with the company. Had nothing to do with an employee. It would be a bad time to have executive turnover, I think. And despite what some small minority of people think, the CEO and the CFO and the board have steered this company through to surviving and avoiding bankruptcy. So I don't think that you're going to see any change there. I don't think that it would be positive if they did, unless we have some stellar replacement candidate. So I think his job is safe at AMC, but yeah, what wasn't the kind of news that we needed, right? Am I in any defense company stocks or crude oil? I'm not at the moment, Patriot. I think we talked about in the Discord some time ago defense stocks, many months ago. And as I was looking at all of them, they had all been run up, and I didn't think that they were going to be able to run up anymore. This was around the Ukraine war time. Little did I know that we'd be having an Israeli-Palestine conflict on top of that. So I haven't looked at them to see if they've been jumping since that got added to the mix. But the time to really buy those is in times of peace, when they're losing money and the prices get run down. For me, you know, I want to buy them super cheap and then let them double or triple. Palantir T-Man is on my list. I watch it every day. I would prefer to pay less for Palantir than the current price, but I wouldn't be opposed to swing trading it in this range. I would have a very tight stop loss on it. So here's my chart on Palantir. I would prefer to buy it at 12 or 10 or 7. But if it hits 15 bucks, I might start taking a nibble on this Fibonacci level just to see if we get a bounce for a swing trade. But I would have a very tight stop loss on that in case it pushes down further. And I did do a Palantir video about maybe 30 days ago saying that sort of thing. I'd feel, for me, being pretty risk averse on a trade like this, I'd prefer to buy it between 7 and 10. But if they keep, if they keep investors' attention and they keep outperforming, it may never get down there. So I'm not going to make any judgment calls telling you, too early to buy Palantir at 16. I'm just saying, for me, I'd like to see a lot more retracement. And if it doesn't, 15, I might take a nibble. 13, I might take a nibble. Have a tight stop loss in case a bad news. And then maybe I get lucky. Maybe 15's the bottom. Maybe 13.86 is the bottom. I'm surprised, Dawn, that the Dumb Money movie is not doing better than it has been. Let's look at the box office. Dumb Money's only done 13 million. That's horrible. I mean, it's pathetic. I never would have thought that so few people would be interested in seeing this movie. And it was a good film. I enjoyed it, not just as a trader, but I guess it, it doesn't resonate with enough people. Maybe there's not as much of us as we thought. What's 15 million divided by 15 bucks? A million. Maybe there's only 1 million GameStop and AMC holders. All of us saw it, and that's it. No one else is watching it. T-Man says, I go to movies to escape my poor decision making, not watch it. Are they suppressing ads on it? I don't know what kind of budget they had for advertisement, Kevin. The only thing, I don't watch a whole lot of TV. So the only thing that I've seen is the film director, producer, Ben, whatever his name is. Maybe he's the book writer. I've seen that guy on Twitter. I don't know. Have you guys seen ads for that movie anywhere? What do we got coming up? I put a tweet out of what I was going to go see before the end of this month. This is what I'm planning on seeing. Killers of the Flower Moon. I want to see that this weekend. My wife wants to see it also, so I'll let y'all know what I think of that. Soulmates. This is a horror movie a la Saw. And I saw one critic review posted. He said it's better than the worst Saw movies, but not as good as the best ones. So there's that. I'll go see that maybe on a weekday. And what else we got? Five Nights at Freddy's. This one's either going to be horrible or people are going to take their younger kids, like 12 to 13, to go see it. I remember my kid playing Five Nights at Freddy's. And Freelance with John Cena looks like a funny comedy action movie. So those are the 4 that I'm going to go see this month. And then if you want your Christian feel-good movie, Sight with Greg Kinnear is also out this month. Probably won't, bring in a lot of money, but you never know. About some doctor that decides to do a pro bono operation on a kid that from another country where his dad, I think India maybe, his dad had poured acid in the kid's eyes as a toddler because they could make more money begging if the kid was blind. And the doctor was like determined to help this kid. So I think that might be, on a day I really need a feel-good pick-me-up, I'll go see that movie. So that's about 5 movies to go see in the next 10 days. I'm going to be busy. We got Priscilla, the Presley movie, coming out in November. The Marvels, man, it's just fascinating watching YouTube, Disney and Marvel YouTube channels with their opinions on this. It's all over the map. It's either going to bomb or it's going to do really good. And we got Hunger Games in November. We got the movie Thanksgiving, Trolls. It's not a lot. I mean, there's just not a lot. We're really banking. We're banking on Taylor Swift. Beyonce, December. Monty Python and the Holy Grail re-release. That'll be out in December. That'll be fun to go see. I've never seen it in a theater. I would go see that. Have a few beers. Wonka looks like it could be a decent movie. Got some UFC fights. Aquaman, late in December. Yeah, it's just such slim pickings. Color Purple on Christmas Day. I don't know. I mean, Q4 is gonna be a nail biter. Patriot says when he went to see Dumb Money, it was him and one other dude. We had a pretty full theater when we went to go see it. You make more money if you're blind. Come here, boy. Let me pour this acid in your eyes. Yeah. Speaking of the Moon movie, Bravskar, let's go back to that one. If I'm not mistaken, this is an Apple movie. Is that right? I saw some discussion on this, like how quick is it going to streaming? And that I don't know. Maybe if one of y'all can Google it real quick. It's a fucking 3.5 hour movie. Holy shit. 3 hours and 26 minutes running time. It better be good. It better be fucking good. %92 by critics and 86% by audience. Well, I mean, it should do fine. And what else are people going to go see? Let's see. I might have here my estimates for. Hang on one second. Might have my estimates for box office on that movie. Oh, I have Taylor Swift at 415 million domestic, 715 worldwide. That's my guess. I mean, I've seen on I've seen on Twitter people saying $2 billion for Taylor Swift. I just wonder if they still think that after only seeing 92 million on the first weekend. Killers of the Flower Moon, I have it at 127 million domestic, 347 worldwide. We shall see. Yeah, Bravscar, they need to have a damn what do you call it? They need to have a break in the middle of that movie. Tadea says, do you ever look at OTC stocks? All the time. Yeah. I don't do a lot of videos on them because most people, when you do videos on OTC, it's mostly, how can I say this the nice way? Let me just say, you need to get in early and you need to get out without listening to anybody on Twitter or YouTube. Is that a fair way of saying it? I see people covering OTC stocks and telling people that it's going to, GTII, for example, 70 cents to $9, whatever it went to. That was a great trade. But we had people telling people it was going to 100. Like, what kind of crack are you smoking? 43 cents you could have got in, and you could have run it up to 570 or 897 if you were really lucky. I have no problem with that. But here, all the way from $6 down to $3, people were still making videos telling people to buy it, that it was going to 100. I got a problem with that. So I talk about OTC stocks. I have opinions on all of them. Most people hate my opinions because they think that I'm shitting on their plays. But the only time to be in these is right here. You got to see it on the first day, or if it's a play like Finger, where it had a couple days where the action was happening, where you could have got in early. That's fine. You know, you had a couple days to jump in Finger. But the people pumping it now at $6, $7, I think they're going to create bag holders. And so I won't be doing videos or tweets on Finger. Because more than likely at this point, you know, the most likely thing to happen is it's going to drop back down to $1. Could it run up? Sure. It can always run up. But if I had to put money, in fact, I bought puts right here at $7 on October 2nd. I made money on this day. So my thinking when I see a play like this is, don't be making videos about it. Don't be telling people about naked shorts and we got the shorts trapped and they're scared. Most likely it's going back down to $1. Just win. If you're buying it at 6 or 7, you're buying a scratch off ticket, and I wish you all the best, but you're not going to see me making videos about this every day. And for God's sake, don't be putting all your fucking money in this. There going to be some people crying. I lost my house over Finger. Lost $100,000 in GTII. Don't be that guy. I do have some. The last one that I've played Finger 3 times. I'm not holding it right now. Another one that I played recently was LICN. I like some of the that one. It didn't get the run up that I was expecting. I didn't make a video about it before I bought it. I just talked about it in the Discord. It's had some good little swings between $1.20 and $1.40, but there's nothing great about this company. Just intraday volatility. So I noticed it was running up and I bought some and I sold. And there's still a little bit of bouncing, but I don't know what it's going to do next, so I didn't rebuy it. And there is another one that I'm holding, but I don't really want to push that on you guys because they're just so uncertain. And there's, most of these companies there's no redeeming financial quality about them. You're literally buying a scratch-off ticket. Anya says, do you think it's time to get out of the cheap stocks and buy established companies? Anya, I think that I can't tell you guys what to do. I'll tell you what I'm doing, Anya. I'm about 40 to 50% in cash. Any months ago, any play that I had that was not performing over the last year, I got rid of. Like we were talking about earlier, like your charge points and your fuels and plug-in power. And I'm mostly in blue chip companies. I have some meme stocks. You guys know I bought AMC back again about 7 or 8. I'm looking for a place to buy GameStop, a point to buy it. And anything else, including those, I would just be looking for short-term trading on them, Anya. For me, that's how I'm approaching all the shit plays. Finger, any of them. I don't believe any of that bullshit that these people are talking about on Twitter. They can do them. I'm not going to make a daily video calling them out. But if you ask me my opinion, you're playing with fire on all those. But I still watch Finger every day. If it pulled back to 460 on this Fibonacci, 460, 470, I might throw a little bit of coin at it with a tight stop loss in case it breaks all the way down below that. I certainly wouldn't be putting $10,000 or some shit like that on it. That's your that's where you guys got to make up your own mind. Hey, if you put 10 or 100,000 on something like this and it goes up 10x, that's a great trade. But if it goes down and you lose 50%, that stings. And there is no redeeming financials on most of these plays. You're just gambling on FOMO, push-ups, and the theories of people talking about naked shorts that can't substantiate their theories. They're just very vocal. Being very vocal doesn't convince me. But if the chart says buy it, I'll buy it. Damrick says, is Tesla going to bounce? I hope so. I bought a little bit yesterday, Damrick. I'm back in at 218. I'd much prefer to buy at 150 or 100. So I didn't load the boat, but I took a little nibble. Yeah, I've loosely followed MMAT, BSKA, and MMTLP for years. Said all along, don't own them. And MMTLP, when it ran up, a lot of people were talking about, asking me about it. I said, fucking sell that thing. We were talking about it in lives when it was running up. When it topped out, I said, if I was holding it, I would get out. And everybody was like, but I'd rather it go to zero and fight it in court than sell right now. Okay, then you made your choice. Yeah, this is when we started watching MMAT. I mean, that's a beautiful squeeze, but there was no redeeming financials that said there was any reason to hold MMAT. And since then, $21 down to 17 cents. I saw that George, what's his name? George Palinakis, he got booted by the board. I did see that this week. So all of these plays, the way I approach them, you guys, you probably already know that if you're a regular here. If there's a underlying safe reason to own it based on the financial statements, I will buy it and hold it. AMC was my one exception where I ignored the financials and held with you guys from 2021 to 2023, even though I knew the company was losing money and burning cash. That is not something that I normally do. Any other play like this, like an MMAT, a finger, if there's not a compelling story, you need to only be thinking of it as a swing trade and have stop losses in place. And once it starts breaking down, get the fuck out. You should have been out of this play in June of 2021 and never looked back, because there's nothing, at least Finger is improving, right? If I look at the financials of Finger, it's one of the few since we started looking at it a year ago or whenever that they are actually getting better. But the problem with Finger is they've told us that they want to grow, but they're going to need to raise more money to grow, which means there's there's dilution. It's either happening or it's going to happen. I personally think I'd bet you money, I'd bet you a 6-pack that Finger is diluting right now. They have that $25 million offering, and they got a shelf offering for a lot more. They said we're not gonna try and dilute the fuck out of people with a shelf. But I bet you that $25 million offering is being sold, which is why I don't think the price is really going to be able to run up over 7 or 8 until they're done selling that. They want it to run up, and then when it gets in this range, they're going to dilute you. So that's my working theory, but what do I know? Damrick says Fed's still looking at MMTLP. Yeah, there's I look, I want to see any of these companies have a win with any of their lawsuits. So I loosely track what's going on with MMTLP and their lawsuit, and I wish them all the best. We need a win, right? Retail needs a win. But I can't participate in those communities because they just get so toxic, even among themselves. So I just watch from a distance. I'm curious. I'm hopeful. I'm not going to get involved in it. I heard I was talking to one of the BBIG guys. I guess they have a lawsuit going against the company. But even they're like, they have some infighting. We know AMC has some infighting. And I don't want to be in a retail community where everybody's fighting with each other. I want to be in a community where everybody is pulling in the same direction. You can have differing opinions, but when it gets all personal and everybody's questioning each other, I don't want to be in that play. Patriot says, what are your thoughts on the new rule? We're talking about the new SEC short selling transparency rule. That one I know a little bit about, Patriot. And I've in between, when I get bored reading about EV companies, I've been doing some DD on that rule. And I think it doesn't really, they don't have a firm compliance period for like a year from now, from what I recall. So I don't think you're going to see, if I'm correct on that, I don't think you're going to see any meaningful immediate change. The other thing, just from living this life for the last couple of years, is not one rule that we've talked about since 2021 has made a lick of difference. So that's like in the back of my mind. Are they just placating us? Or is, the SEC just trying to look like they're doing their job? That rule also has like the reporting to the public is, from what I recall reading about it, was not at the frequency that I wanted to see. But I'm not done doing my research on it. There were some things that were interesting to me, like, so my main questions are around the shorts that are being reported to the exchange by the people that are required to report them. As I was kind of reading through that SEC rule, I was like, is there like a whole nother layer of people that are shorting that aren't having to report their shorts? That's kind of what I got out of it. Maybe I need to talk to Biggums. He's probably read much more into this than I have. But that was kind of the thing that interested me. If there's other entities that are currently not required to report shorts that are going to be sucked up into this new rule, that would be good for us a year from now. But there's still the delay in the reporting, and these fuckers always figure out a way. They always figure out a way to win. So I don't know that I'm going to be trotting out videos saying we won, this new rule changes the game. I'm just more in the mindset right now, like, I want to get in, get out, make my money, and we'll keep fighting and bugging the SEC for more transparency. But I'm not going to be making videos for you saying we won starting next week. Put it that way. I saw that BSKA says a lot of the MMAT fanboys were butthurt from George being fired up. I saw a tweet this evening before we came online. It was a love letter to George on Twitter. George, we'll always thank you for being part of the MMAT team, and you're beloved, and thank you for everything you did. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I have no position, no opinion, but I'm thinking to myself, don't half of the MMAT people hate this guy's guts? I mean, and for sure the Bears think that he was part of the root of the problem. So I really don't know what to say about George, other than he seems to be a polarizing character, much like Adam Aaron has become. Anya says, what did I think of driving the Rivian? Anya, I was very, very impressed, Anya, with both the pickup truck and even more so the SUV. But I think if I was going to buy one right now, I would, and I'm not, not looking to buy a Rivian just right now or any EV, but I would wait for the to see if they switch to the North American charging standard instead of the CCS. BSKA says, will Israeli defense stocks run when the funding bill gets passed? That's a good question. I haven't even thought about that, but worth thinking about. What companies do you like? And remind me, Citadel suing the SEC. What was that about? The same short selling transparency rule, or was that about a different one? I was doing some other reading, going way back on some GTII stuff. You guys remember, who was it? Is it Lind Partners? Who's the one that was Alpine? Alpine was shorting GTII, right? Remember that report that the NSCC, any of y'all in GTII? Anytime someone brings up GTII not being a good play, someone always posts on Twitter, but what about this SEC report where the NSCC said that Alpine had a concentrated short position in GTII, and they were increasing their deposit with the DTC or the NSCC. I read through that whole report again, and I think people are just like, people see what they want to see. They see one sentence and they don't read the whole document, because the rest of the document said, even one page down, it said that Alpine had plenty of securities on hand to cover the position. It said that they're not in trouble with the NSCC. They haven't done anything illegal. And what else did it say? As I was going back and looking at the margin rules that the NSCC has, when Alpine had their short position, that was right around the time that GTII ran up. And there's a look back period when the clearinghouse looks at your margin and if you would have been in trouble, and they take a basically an average of the volatility. And that's probably, you know, Alpine, after that run up, when they did that look back, they said, if this happens again, you didn't have enough on deposit. Didn't have enough on deposit to cover that run up from 40 cents to $9. That was hella volatility. And if you're going to keep shorting that ticker, you need to have a bigger deposit to cover your position. It's not that they were getting in trouble for doing anything illegal. I was going to do a video on that, and I was like, really, what's the point? I mean, even if I try and educate people, no one wants to hear it. If you're in GTII, you already made up your mind that there's 200 million shorts naked. Nobody wants someone to read an actual filing to them. They just want that one sentence that said they had a concentrated short position. Not an illegal short position. Yeah. So is anyone going to tell me what was Citadel suing the SEC over? Was it that same transparency rule, the new one? You know, that stuff still interests me, but you got people like Bigham's and Boss Blunt's covering it. I'm trying to expand my coverage to some plays that we can make money on if the price gets right over the next couple of years, and not spend so much of my time worrying about rules which probably aren't going to have any immediate effect on us making money. So Citadel, as a market maker, if that's what they're suing the SEC over, I'll go read it this weekend. As a market maker, I would think, as a FINRA member, I would think that they're already required to disclose their short positions. It looked to me like the new rule was roping in institutions that weren't necessarily under FINRA's grasp. I just don't know that I want to go down that rabbit hole. If it's not going to meaningfully make us money next week, next month, next year, me becoming an expert on that lawsuit or that rule, is it meaningfully going to help us find the next best trade for next week? That's all I'm doing. Spending my day sitting here looking at what can I trade this week? Stocks, options, OTC, swing trades, and what, besides what I'm doing, what other meaningful, helpful information can I give you guys on some companies that you should have on your radar? Damrick says bank earnings came in okay to my surprise. The problem with that, Damrick, is people are misconstruing the whole banking situation. Like, banks' earnings are fine. Citadel's earnings are fine. Where they could get fucked is with bonds. We've already seen that, right? SVB. Because of collateral requirements. But earnings-wise, unless the housing market collapses. Earnings wise, they're fine. Where they're going to get screwed is if their asset base, either mortgages, offices, or bonds, gets obliterated. They're not hurting really from earnings. BSKA looking at 3M. I haven't looked at them in a long time. I don't think I've owned that one since the 90s. Solid company. Let's see. Woo! They had a run up from 27 back in the 2000s to 210, and they're coming back down to 86. Yeah, I mean, that might be one to put on the list, my blue chip list. I don't even think I have them on here. But yeah, I mean, that's where I start getting interested. When you have a solid blue chip company like 3M getting beaten down like this is where you have time before a market crash to start digging into this company. What are they doing now? Why is it getting beaten down? Is there a possible turnaround story where you need to start identifying some price levels to buy 3M? 86 or 50? What's it going to be? I'm going to add them to my DD list. That's what I'm looking for, though. For the bulk of my portfolio, getting back to Anya's question, the bulk of my portfolio, I want blue chips that I buy cheap on a market correction and hold them for 5 or 10 years. And then I have my fun money, 10, 20%, that I do swing trades, OTCs, short squeezes. And if I lose it, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, it's below the COVID lows. This is one, we need to go dig into this and figure out what's going on. Thank you for calling that out. Let's see. Let's see what's going on here. Flat. Oh, wait, I'm on balance sheet. Their earnings are flat. A company like 3M gets so big that they can't keep growing. They've been stuck around 31, 32 billion revenue since 2014. So then when you get that big, you either need to cost cut, or you need to acquire and keep growing. If you can't acquire, then you need to cost cut to keep generating increasing profits. And if you can't keep increasing your profits, your price is going to get beat down. So let's look at their net income. $5.7. I'm looking at last year. It's been up slightly since 2014. Let's go to the quarterly. Oh yeah, they had a $6.4 billion loss in the last quarter. So I would need to go look at the 10Q and figure out what happened. That's a big spanking. All right, I'll dig into that one this weekend. Something happened. Once you understand why they had that loss, I mean, here's someone writing an article, 3M is oversold 2 days ago. If you understand that loss and you can make a case for yourself that it's getting oversold, then it might be time to jump in and start grabbing some. Please add RTX to your DD list, Anya says. RTX. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one, Anya. Aerospace and defense. But that's a nice pull down on that chart for people that are wanting to go dig in and see is the bleeding done yet. Again, I'd need to look through the 10 Qs and the financials. Definitely one worth adding to look into. What's the market cap on this? 105 billion. Wow. Thank you, Anya. 3M is dealing with lawsuits. T-Man. I remember hearing about that earplug lawsuit. That's quite a write-off. Speaking of one-time expenses, there are a couple people, and we talked about this a week or two ago. There are a couple people that are worried that AMC is going to have a Goodwill write-off. Have y'all seen those videos yet or heard any chatter about that? RTX is Raytheon. I used to work on Raytheon products. Back in the day. We had a Raytheon factory here in town. I didn't know that they changed names. They made some of the electronic countermeasures systems that I worked on the F4 and the F-16. The F4 at least, the chaff and the flare system. Well, I was talking about Goodwill, AMC. This is the biggest unknown for me for Q3 for AMC. We talked about this, but if you're here tonight and you weren't around for that conversation a couple weeks ago, there's this raging debate in small circles. Is AMC going to have a Goodwill write-off in Q3 because the price and the market cap got dropped? So I'm just going to close out because my wife is back now. I hear her coming in from yoga in the grocery store. When the price of a stock and the market cap drops significantly, like what happened to AMC in the last month, there will be a requirement by accounting rules to do a Goodwill impairment test. That is a fact. That does not mean, however, that there will be a Goodwill impairment. And as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I talked to several CPAs, which have agreed that it's. In fact, both of them said that it would be unlikely because the business units of AMC, their ability to generate cash has not been impaired, right? We're actually doing better than we were in 2020 when we had our last Goodwill impairment. The cash generating ability of the business units has not been impaired. So even though you might need to do a Goodwill test, when you look at the overall business, it's not doing worse. But I will close by saying that calculating Goodwill impairment is a very complicated process. There are exceptions that a company can use, like the one that I just mentioned. Even if the market cap of the company drops the book value of the units, you could still say, well, we're going to look at the ability to generate cash. So it's a bit of an unknown. It would not be a complete surprise to me if there was a Goodwill impairment, because there's going to be a test for Q3, and that would impact your earnings per share negatively if that happens. But my take on it right now, based on my reading, my studying, I'm not a CPA, but I've spent a lot of time looking into it and talked to some folks. I do not think there will be a Goodwill impairment. So we'll see. Cheesemo, what's up, amigo? Oh, Crismo. What is my opinion on XRP, James? I'm gonna let Lou cover that one. That's my opinion, James. Let me see if I still have my crypto tab up here. When I look at all of these, I'll put the chart up here in a second. When I look at all of these, just like in the day when I was looking at Doge and Shiba, besides looking at the ability, you got to look at legal, you got to look at what the coin is going to be used for, and you got to look at the fucking chart, and you got to look at, can they, the whole thing with SHIB and Doge is people were underestimating the ability of these. They were overestimating the burn rate. Let's put it that way. They were underestimating the total supply. So the price targets that were being thrown out for SHIB and Doge were, in my mind, ridiculous. Back in that day. But now when we're looking at SHIB, how can I change this chart? Let me go to one that I actually like. The time to buy SHIB for me, if I was a lover of, not SHIB, XRP. If I was really in the XRP camp, time to buy it was here, 45 cents. And then sell when everybody was pumping it. I don't buy into any of the bullshit that Lou and all of them are talking about. But I'm not an XRP expert. I'm just looking at the chart. If I doubled my money, I would have fucking sold it. Now that it's coming back down, now you get back into that. Do you really believe, based on your due diligence, that it's going to $20. Not based on what someone on YouTube is telling you. Especially somebody like Lou. So with that being said, and with my wife now being back home, I'm going to call it a night. Juicy got you crazy, gets here just in time for me to leave in Florence, Italy. Man, I'm jealous, Juicy. Go get you a Napoleon pizza. I hope you're visiting some museums and churches and taking in that beautiful architecture up there. Yeah, with the CBDC, I don't know that, you know, I think that the whole XRP and CBDC thing got meshed together and maybe misunderstood, but I'm not going to talk on it at length because it's not something I'm going to be keeping up on. Other than when I saw Lou pumping it, I was, you know, he's not been right on very much. So I would have only played it for the momentum. Buy the rumor, down here, sell the news. I did feed the rabbits. Sure. You're cooking something? Yeah. You're cooking it now? Yeah, I'm starving. I need to go eat, guys. Patriot, for those of you, he says, don't be such a stranger. Yeah, you guys can always reach out to me on Discord. I am working on videos during the day, so. And I've been bugging our buddy Massalorian like almost every night this week. Let's go do a live. Let's go do a live. And he's got some stuff going on in his life. So I said tonight, whether he answers my text or not, I'm going live while my wife is at yoga in the grocery store. So maybe Johnny and I will get together this weekend and do another one with you guys. I'm not trying to avoid you. It's just, there's not a lot to talk about. I mainly wanted to just hang out, smoke a cigar, and see what y'all wanted to talk about tonight. Beef steak a la Florentine, Anya says. So my goal for tomorrow is to get the Lucid video out, and then in the Rivian drive test video, I'll be actually doing, like I said at the beginning, a Lucid test drive next week also. And then hopefully we can hang out and do one more live stream this weekend. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Love ya. Trade safe, trade smart. Make sure you have cash ready in case the market crashes. And let's keep on looking for those plays that we can make some money on. Feel free to hit me up in the comments. Thank you for the ideas tonight, and I will look at some of those that you guys mentioned, the 3M and the Raytheon especially. Peace.
So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here